Shalom, I'm Brother Isaka. Welcome to another Restores of Truth Ministries Scripture Nugget. Today's Scripture Nugget is a continuation of the previous Scripture Nugget, the works of Abraham. In our previous Scripture Nugget, the works of Abraham, it was based upon Bereshith chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, chapters 15, verses 1 through 6, and chapter 17, verses 1 through 6. Last time we pointed out that many profess the belief of Abraham, which is based upon Bereshith chapter 15, verse 6, but actually we found out that the word belief actually means the trust of Abraham. So Abraham trusted, and it was counted unto him as righteousness, or zedekah. We also looked at trust being an action word. Therefore, Abraham did actions to show his belief in Yah. We shared 8 actions that Abraham and his seed did, which are found in Bereshith chapters 12 through chapter 26. Today's scripture nugget, again, is a continuation of the works of Abraham, but specifically we are going to target chapter 15. So it's a lengthy reading, so let's begin. Chapter 15, verse 1. After these things, the word of Yahuwah came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abraham said, Adonai Yahuwah, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? Now, again, we're talking about scripture nuggets, and the reason we entitle this and what we do here on YouTube as scripture nuggets is because oftentimes in reading the text or in studying the text, specifically if it's a Torah portion, sometimes we'll focus on the theme of the Torah portion and miss a lot of the ingredients that's within each particular verse. Now, in verse 1 of Bereshith 15, Yahuwah says to Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Now, that's a clue to Abraham as offspring. When he heard the word exceeding, or the words exceeding great reward, immediately Abraham thought about seed and bloodline. How can we say that? Look at Abraham's response. He said to Adonai Yahuwah, what will you give me, seeing I go childless? So his response is indication of he understood verse 1. Exceeding great reward to mean seed. So in verse 3 he says, And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. In other words, those who are born, who I have obtained through servitude or through purchase, or those that are born by those that I have purchased, these will be considered my heir. Verse 4, And behold, the word of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, This shall not be your heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. So Yah is making a promise to Abraham. It's going to be through your own bowels. And he brought him forth. He brought Abraham forth abroad and said, Look now toward Shamaim, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. Now let's get to the foundation of today's reading. Verse 6, And he believed in Yahuwah, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Now, last week we talked about belief is an action word, which means trust. There's a trust. But let's take it a step further. In the Hebrew, that word believed is aman. Aman, A-W-M-A-N, aman. It has a deeper meaning, which means to choose the right hand or the right path. Abraham, when he believed, he did something, which is coming to the right hand of Yah. Coming to the right hand of Yah. You remember Yahushua, when he was resurrected, he sat on the right hand of the Father. That means he is accomplishing or has accomplished the commands of Yah. So this Hebrew word aman means that Abraham believed, past tense, aman, he chose the right hand, the right path, the right instructions of Yah. He agreed with Yah and he did something. It's still an action word. So he not only trusted, but he did something. He chose the right hand, he chose the right path. Verse 7, and he said unto him, I am Yahuwah that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. Now that word inherit in Hebrew is yarash. Yarash. It means to drive out, expel, occupy. So what is Yahuwah saying? He said, Abraham, the land that I'm giving you, you're going to inherit it, which means you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to drive out, you're going to have to expel, and you're going to have to occupy it. Now, that's exactly what the seed of Abraham did during the days of Yahshua. When they occupied the land, they actually had to expel and drive out. Now, in verse 8, Abraham asked the question. He says, Adonai Yahuwah, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? How shall I know this? Now, what is Abraham doing? He's inquiring. He's actively engaging in Yah. He just don't believe. He's doing something. He's engaging. So he asked Yah, how shall I know? Because I don't have a seed. I know you just told me out of my own bowels, but I don't have a seed. So look what Yah does. He's instructing him to do something. In verse 9, take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these things, talking about Abram, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not, because they was very small. Okay? Verse 11, and when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Why? Because Abram understood this is a different type of sacrifice. And we're going to find that out as we continue. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in Shalom. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled. So a covenant is being cut. I read that to show you that now that Abraham believed or trusted or aman, Yah has to seal this with a covenant. Now look at verse 17. This is what Yah did. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. Why a smoking furnace and why a burning lamp? Yah is showing Abraham what is going to happen to his seed in Mizraim. The furnace is symbolic of affliction and servitude while in Mizraim. Remember, y'all just said they are going to serve this nation. And they're going to serve this nation, and not only serve this nation, but he said he's going to bring them out from this nation. So the furnace is symbolic of affliction and servitude, while the lamp is symbolic of deliverance and guidance. So he gives Abraham his presence to show, through my presence, I'm going to be with your people. In the same day, Yahuwah made a covenant with Abraham, saying unto thy seed, have I given this land from the river of Mizraim unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, Rephaims, the Amorites, Canaanites, and the Girgasites, and the Jebusites. That's the land that he gave to Abraham and his seed. So what are we saying here? Abraham believed Yah. Yah gave Abraham a covenant. And in that covenant, Yah is showing his presence with Abraham's seed. We see in verse 6, the belief of Abraham is not only the trust of Abraham, but also Aman, which means he will choose the right path. He has chosen the right path. He has chosen to follow Yahuwah, and follow Yahuwah by being obedient to the commands of Yahuwah. So belief in verse 6 is not only trust, but Aman. And it's tied to Abraham and the covenant of Abraham for number 1, a promised seed, and number 2, a promised land. He Aman, he believed Yah. He Aman, which means he chose the right path, symbolizing obedience unto Yah. And as we said on last time, many who say they have the belief of Abraham and that they are Abraham's children by belief, then they must do the works of Abraham. I ended with this. Psalms 19, Tehillim 19, 7 through 10. The Torah of Yahuwah is perfect, restoring the soul. The testimony of Yahuwah is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of Yahuwah are right, making the heart cheerful. The commandment of Yah is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of Yahuwah is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of Yahuwah are true and righteous altogether. Verse 10, more to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Shalom, shalom. See you next time on Scripture Nuggets.